Well, this is hopefully our last week through Jeremiah. Not that it hasn't been good, but it'll be good to wrap up and hopefully get closer to the New Testament.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend too much time on context, but before we hop right into these chapters, let's just talk about maybe what we talked about last week briefly. What did we talk about last week? Where did we pick up last week?
So last week, I believe we were discussing about how Jeremiah was going out to various nations surrounding Judah, and was proclaiming like, you guys are going to get destroyed. You have not been listening to God. Destruction is coming upon you.
Yeah.
Via the Babylonians.
Yeah, or I guess
other
different stuff. Yeah. So first we picked up where we left off, which was that the people were choosing to go to Egypt to flee the Babylonians because of the stuff that went down, where the guy that Nebuchadnezzar put in charge of Judah, he got killed, and so there was this whole rebellion / mutiny, and as a result, the remnant of Judah was going to Egypt in fear, and God warned them against this. And we talked about how this was like the clear moment where Judah decided to go into exile, essentially. Like this was like the moment where they were going back to Egypt.
You could already see signs of them like them coming back, but they just decided, okay, we're not going to trust God, and we're going to trust in our own logical decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Like it seemed as if
from a pure logical and tactical perspective, yes, it would be the smart move, but it's not what God said. So
right, exactly. They were told to submit to Babylon, and they did not. And then so then that happened, and then we had a short, brief chapter where God and Jeremiah spoke to Baruch and basically said, "You recognize what you did, and you'll have your life as spoil." Basically, I'm going to this seems to be like a brief flashback in time, but God basically said, "I'm going to essentially destroy Jerusalem. Leave while you can. You will have your life as spoil. You can go wherever you want to." And then, the last few chapters, we started getting through different oracles against different nations, and they all generally had the same message of they were prideful, they were following after other gods, and as a result, God was going to destroy those nations. And with one of them specifically, he said that he was going to exile their god, Chemosh. What are the different nations that we talked about that God spoke out against?
Let's see. I don't think we got to Ammon yet, but we talked about Moab.
So we started in the south, right? We started with Egypt, I believe.
Yeah. And we also talked about the direction he was going from south to north, if I'm not mistaken, right?
So it was like Egypt, then Philistia, and then we got to Moab.
Yeah.
Are those the only three we've covered so far?
I think that's all so
Egypt,
far.
Philistia, Moab. Next one's Ammon. I don't think we've touched them yet.
We're about to get into Ammon.
And one thing that's probably worth highlighting in all of this is that we talked about this when we were in Isaiah, but the things that God is judging the Gentiles or the nations for is a lot broader than what he judges Judah for, right? To where with Judah, he'll be like, you're not keeping the Sabbath, right? It's stuff that's very specifically related to the Torah that he gave them, right? The standard he drew out.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Gentiles, he's judging them on things that even their consciences in human decency should know are wrong, right? So it's it's pride, injustice, it's much more general, which I think that's just very important to notice. He's not holding them to the same standard.
Yeah, that's true. That, or it's specifically how they treated Judah / Israel.
Yeah, it's you've been a jerk to my people, and I will not tolerate that.
And the language in general has just been very even within, especially Moab, but I can't remember if you mentioned it with Philistia or Egypt, but the language of he's exiling these nations as well. With Moab specifically, he said he was going to send them into exile as well as Chemosh, their god. But at the end of Moab was an interesting chapter, because we saw that not only was God going to punish them, but he also showed like remorse, like not regret, but like remorse over having to punish them. We saw it was a little bit more complex chapter than the ones with Egypt and Philistia. And then towards the end, like what happened at the very end of that chapter with Moab?
He said he's going to reestablish them, right? It's like
Return the fortunes.
Yeah, and it was like literally the last verse.
Yeah.
To where it's like he spends like the whole time being like, "I'm going to destroy you. You're going to be messed up," and then like, "Oh, by the way, I'll return the fortunes."
Yeah, I always think that's interesting, just because that's language that's only been used with Judah and Israel so far. I just think that's interesting.
But it like hints at the fact that God does have a plan for people beyond just Judah.
Yeah,
which is like just a good reminder. It's like the Bible will always give you like little hints of that to remind you, like, hey, while this is mainly the story of the Israelite people, it does go beyond them.
God is the God of the entire universe, not just He's not just the God of Israel.
Yeah,
He's the God of heavens and the earth. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add on that as far as context before we hop in? That's pretty much where we left off. Was really with Moab. Okay. Yeah, this chapter we're gonna start getting into like a little more rapid fire with different nations. So it'll be mostly briefer oracles, but yeah. The next, basically, I guess also just to kind of lay it out, the last few chapters of this book is going to be basically more oracles against different nations, and then we're gonna finish with Babylon, the oracle against Babylon, and then we're gonna get into narrative. That's gonna wrap up.
The Babylon one is pretty.
Yeah, that's good.
Pretty long from what I've seen.
It's pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll end with the oracle against Babylon, and then we're gonna end with some narrative with what happens to Judah in the exile. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and hop in. Oh.
It just pop up there.
Oh,
Oh, it was gonna pop up. Yeah.
Work that out.
all right. Is it working now?
Yeah, that's good. Oh yeah. Concerning the sons of Ammon, thus says Yahweh, does Israel have no sons? Or has he no one who can take possession? Why then has Malcolm take possession of Gad, and his people settled in its cities? Therefore behold, the days are coming, declares Yahweh, that I will cause a trumpet blast of war to be heard against Rabbah of the sons of Ammon, and it will become a desolate heap, and her towns will be set on fire. Then Israel will take possession of his possessors, says Yahweh. Wail, O Heshbon, for Ai has been destroyed. Cry out, O daughters of Rabbah. Gird yourselves with sackcloth and lament, and rush back and forth inside the walls, for Malcolm will go into exile, together with his priests and his princes. How boastful you are about the valleys. Your valley is flowing away, O faithless daughter who trusted her treasures, saying, who will come against me? Behold, I am going to bring dread upon you, declares Yahweh of hosts, from all around you, and each of you will be banished headlong, with no one to gather the one who flees. But afterward, I will return the fortune of the sons of Ammon, declares Yahweh. Let's stop there. Okay, so what happens there?
Interesting.
So it goes along the same line that it's an oracle against the nation for what they've done.
So, I
And
guess,
like,
just to touch off real quick, who is this against?
The Ammonites.
Okay, who are the Ammonites?
They're descendants of one of Lot's daughters.
Daughters.
And Lot himself, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, so Moab and Ammon were like sister countries.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, again, literally.
One kind of minor detail is they also mentioned Moloch here, which stood out to me because that's the. If you look back at I believe it's either in Leviticus or Numbers, that's the god they would sacrifice children to.
well, it's not Molech, it's Malcolm.
Yeah, usually you see it as Milcom, I think, but
Yeah.
it's like
No.
same letters.
Yeah.
No. Now that in here is Molech, M-O-L-E-C-H. EK, but
Yeah, but
I
isn't
have NIV, so it might.
aren't they supposed to be like relatively the same person, just like the Ammonite version of it?
Yeah, well, Molech specifically is kind of contested because some even will claim that Molech isn't actually a god in of itself.
Oh, okay.
So like
I mean, that's going to be too
Yes.
much of a distraction
Yes.
from this.
Okay,
But
okay,
some
fine.
people have also said that potentially Molech and Milcom are kind of
Same.
conflated.
Interchangeable?
Yeah. So that's probably what it is. Just a
Okay.
different reading.
we don't
Okay.
need to go. We don't need to go too much on it. I just thought it was.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm just saying like it goes along the same lines as the Moabite oracle, where you have the pronouncement of judgment that is to come, and the promise of the returns of the fortunes, along with the fact that the god is going to be going into exile as well.
Yeah, very similar to Moab for sure.
There's a lot of lamenting language. It's like things he calls people to do when calamities are about to come.
Yeah, exactly. What else?
I'm guessing at some point the Ammonites had taken possession of Gath, which gets brought up in the
Yeah, so I guess that's really the first thing that he kind of accuses them of doing. I don't remember where's Gad geographically.
I'll look. So Gad would be the tribe of Gad.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're talking about
let me see.
what was Israel
So whether
territory.
it's they've taken possession of that actual
Yeah.
tribe itself, or like
Well, they've definitely.
just the land.
It'd be of the land, because to be take possession of the land would be to take possession of the tribe.
Yeah.
So if you remember, it was Gad, Reuben, and the half tribe of Manasseh that chose to live on the eastern side
Mhm.
yeah.
of the Jordan River,
Mhm.
and the Ammonites dwell in that region.
Mhm.
So like if you look at a map, like if you can picture like just very simple map, you got the Sea of Galilee, Jordan River going down, and then you got the Dead Sea. The Moabites are primarily like the southeastern part of the Dead Sea. And then the Ammonites are directly above that. But Reuben and the Gadites, like the Reubenites and Gadites, like those two tribes, they live right where Ammon lives. So like basically it's like their territory is like pushing into Ammonite territory. So you can imagine that it was very like they were probably constantly fighting with each other. And yeah.
That's true. Yeah. And so again,
And then at the end, he also says he will restore their fortunes.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, so in this case, it seems like his main thing against Ammon in this case is them fighting against their people,
Mhm.
God's people. So they're taking their land. Yeah, so he says that he's going to basically destroy them. He says that he will cause a trumpet blast of war to be heard against Rabbah, the sons of Ammon. I'm assuming that just refers to their leader. I guess it doesn't say.
Rabbah's a city.
Or okay.
Yeah,
Against
like so.
Rabbah, like the,
Why does that keep coming up? Rabbah is the city. If you remember, I got it. With the David story, Rabbah is the city that they were waging war against with Uriah and stuff. Like whenever he likes, yeah. So Rabbah is just It's like I'm pretty sure it's the capital city of Ammon.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, because they were fighting the Ammonites. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Then Israel will take possession of his possessors.
What I thought was interesting is just it says Whale O Heshbon for Ai has been destroyed, because those are both areas that are in the land of Israel, if I'm not mistaken.
They do sound familiar for sure.
Because Heshbon, oh no, Heshbon is an Amorite city. I guess. Okay, yeah, Heshbon's over in the Ammonite territory. But unless Ai is a reference to a different city, I remember Ai is definitely in the land of Israel because, like in Genesis 12, like when Abraham goes down, it says that he pitched his tent between Bethel and Ai.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I'll look into that. But what verse is that? That's verse 3.
Verse 3. Yeah.
and there might even be a pun going on there because Ai means it means heap of ruins. So it could be that maybe they're not even talking about a very like a specific city. It could be like Whale O'Heshbin for the heap of ruins has been destroyed. Like it could be that maybe the term AI could just be like what you would mockingly call a place that was destined for destruction or something.
In verse 2, when it says it will become a desolate heap, is that word
Let
there?
me look. Verse. Okay.
It's in the middle of verse 2.
Yeah. Let me check.
Getting a little sidetracked.
We were getting sidetracked, but it's fine. No, that actually is just the word tell, which is like that's like what in modern archaeology, a tell is like a mound. So basically, like that's literally what you would do whenever, like this is just a fun archaeological fact. Once again, it's a sidetrack thing, but the reason why they're called tells is because you would destroy a city and you would build on top of it, and so it becomes a mound, right? So that's why if you go over to like Israel nowadays, most cities are on hills because those cities have been destroyed again and again, and so they just get built higher and higher up. And so basically, it's saying that it will become a tell. Like it's like we're going to destroy your city and we're going to build our own city on top of it. Is what it's saying.
That makes sense.
So if you dig into the hills,
Yes.
you will likely find ruins.
Well, which is why.
Archaeology is layered.
Yeah, that's why archaeology is like booming in the last like 200 years because they're like literally the deeper you dig, the more you find, and it's actually pretty cool. So, anyways.
Yeah.
Back to this.
Yeah. And yeah, so it said, rush back and forth inside the walls because Malcolm will go into exile together with his priests and his princes. That phrase is the exact same from the Moabite oracle with Chemosh. For Chemosh will go into exile together with his priests and his princes. How boastful you are about the valleys, your valleys flowing away, O faithless daughter. I think he even used the same phrase with Moab, calling Moab like a faithless daughter, or maybe virgin daughter, but
Either, both of which are weird titles to give them given their origins.
True. But yeah, behold, I'm going to bring dread upon you, declares Yahweh of hosts from all around you. This is a little side thing too. I've noticed this throughout the entire book, really, and ever since the story with like the one guy who got called terror on every side, I haven't been able to like unsee it. Like every chapter has the phrase like either terror on every side or it's like something on every side repeated like several times. And I believe that on every side is the same. It's like Mish Habib, or what was it called?
Yeah, where's
Mish Habib?
Where's-
It's in verse 5. That one just says from all around you, so that one may not be the same. But I think there's a couple where it's like the asterisk, it'll say like literally on every side.
Yeah.
But throughout the entire book, I've just been seeing that phrase pop up so often, like unrelated to that narrative story. He'll say people will say terror on every side, or there's terror on every side, or it's like something on every side. And if nothing else, I would say that it's actually probably worth mentioning just because of one of the themes of Jeremiah is that ultimately God's punishment. Ultimately what God does, there's no way of escaping it.
Yeah.
And that was the case for the Jews, but also all the other nations. And we just talked about how the Judahites, they fled into Egypt because they were fleeing Babylon, but I mean, metaphorically, they were fleeing God, kind of. And the whole point is like, you can't really escape God's judgment. And so if you're going to escape into Egypt to escape, the punishment will just follow you there.
Yeah. The most common, so that phrase shows up 27 times in Jeremiah, and it's most dense in the chapters we're in right now. Like, most of the occurrences are in Jeremiah, like 46 onwards.
Okay.
So
Yeah. It's like I can literally I can't like unsee it ever since I've like noticed it.
yeah,
It's not that important, but I do think it does contribute to the theme of like Babylon surrounds Jerusalem on every side. There is no escape.
yeah. Well, and last week we talked about like the whole imagery of like a flood.
That's true.
It's like it's just overwhelming you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think actually in one of these chapters you will talk like there will be literally the imagery of like a flood, like the waves crashing down.
It mentions in verse 4 the valleys flowing away. and they're boastful about their valleys, which I don't know if that just means their agriculture is there and that's all.
Oh,
If this is going to be destroyed or what that's referring to.
Mhm. Yeah. So we probably need to wrap up because this is only 6 verses in. But anything else you want to add on as far as Ammon? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. Concerning Edom, thus says Yahweh of hosts, is there no longer any wisdom in Teman? Has counsel been lost to the understanding? Has their wisdom decayed? Flee away, turn back, inhabit the depths, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the disaster of Esau upon him at the time I punish him. If grape gatherers came to you, would they not have gleanings remain? If these came by night, they would ruin only until they had enough. But I have stripped Esau bare. I have uncovered his hiding places, so that he will not be able to conceal himself. His seed has been destroyed along with his relatives and his neighbors, and he is no more. Leave your orphans behind, I will keep them alive, and let your widows trust in me. For thus says Yahweh, behold, those who are not under judgment to drink the cup will certainly drink it. But are you the one who will go completely unpunished? You will not go unpunished, but you will certainly drink it. For I have sworn by myself, declares Yahweh, that Basra will become an object of horror, of reproach, a ruin, and an imprecation, and all its cities will become perpetual ruins. I have heard a message from Yahweh, and an envoy is sent among the nations, saying, gather yourselves together, and come against her, and rise up for battle. For behold, I have made you small among the nations, despised among men. As for the terror of you, the arrogance of your heart has deceived you, O you who dwell in the clefts of the rock, who sees the height of the hill. Though you make your nest as high as an eagle's, I will bring you down from there, declares Yahweh. Edom will become an object of horror. Everyone who passes by it will be horrified and will hiss at all its wounds. Like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah with its neighbors, says Yahweh, no one will live there, nor will the Son of Man sojourn in it. Behold, one will come up like a lion from the thickets of the Jordan against an enduring pasture. For in an instant I will make him run away from it, and whoever is chosen I shall appoint over it. For who is like me, and who will summon me into court? And who then is the shepherd who can stand against me? Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh, which he has counseled against Edom, and his purposes which he has purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely they will drag them off, even little ones of the flock. Surely he will make their pasture desolate because of them. The earth has quaked at the noise of their downfall. There was an outcry. The noise of it has been heard at the Red Sea. Behold, he will mount up and swoop like an eagle and spread out his wings against Basra. And the hearts of the mighty men of Edom in that day will be like the heart of a woman in labor. All right.
There's no call for everything to be returned to them at the end.
Well, fortune's being returned to Edom.
That's true.
Yeah, this section feels almost a little more personal.
Yeah.
To where it's like, because he repeatedly calls like Edom Esau.
Yeah.
And like the association, it feels much more like it's very interesting whenever you like reflect on like the whole Edom and Esau, because Israel's descended from Jacob, Edom is descended from Esau, and whenever you read the story of Jacob and Esau, Jacob comes off looking worse, right? Because Jacob is like constantly lying and cheating, but whenever you look at the rest of Scripture, Jacob is the one who's blessed by God, and it looks upon Jacob with a much more favorable light. Whereas, pretty much going forward, there's nothing positive about Esau ever.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob I love, but Esau I hate.
Yeah, it's like Jacob I love, Esau I hated, and and Scripture says a lot of bad stuff about Esau, and I think that really this is kind of probably beyond what we need to be talking about here, but it seems like the biggest condemnation that Esau has going against himself is that he didn't value what could have been his. You know, it's like he despised his birthright, right? It's like he didn't care about it to where that's why he so willingly gave it away over a bowl of soup. And it's just very interesting to me because whenever you read the story, you're like, man, Esau looks better off because it seems like he's forgiving his brother whenever his brother's coming back home, and he looks better. But Scripture doesn't view him that way, and that's always just been kind of interesting to me. And the way that God's talking about Edom here, it sounds very personal to where even the way that he's describing her destruction seems more like I don't even know how to put words to it. It's like the language that is being used. It doesn't seem like just a general pronouncement of judgment. It seems like a personal act of discipline and judgment. Like, I don't even know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you almost have to like analyze all the different words to kind of convey it. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wish I had more time to go through
Yeah.
it verse by verse, but yeah, which I guess you kind of already went through, but again, just for context, who and what is Edom?
Isn't it a land too?
It's the descendants of Esau, who is Jacob's brother.
Mm-hmm.
And who sold
Jacob's older
his
brother.
birthright for a bowl of soup.
Yeah. What does Edom mean?
red.
Red.
Yeah. It's the land of
Yeah,
modern like Petra and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So if you ever like seen like the Red Rock Canyons of Petra, that was Edom, which makes sense because like first off, Esau had red hair, and then he sold his birthright for red stew, and so he lived in the red land. Like it's an ongoing pun throughout the story. That hey, we don't gotta do that on live camera. We don't care.
Yeah. So like Jacob's name got changed to Israel, and I guess in a similar way, Esau's name was. I don't know if it said it was changed to Edom, but he was also called Edom.
Yeah.
Because of the whole giving up his birthright. So that's just for context. So, and they are what? Are they like a little more east of Moab?
They would be like south.
Is it just
Like-
more, is it just more south?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought
So
they
like.
were to the southwest.
Yeah, they'd be southwest. So like basically just imagine the land of Israel and like directly south and maybe a little to the east. Like so they'd be like the southwestern corner of the Dead Sea.
Oh.
If that makes sense. Yeah. So like they would be like
For some reason, I always thought that they were like actually on the southwest side of.
no. So the Philistines would be the farthest to the west. Edom is basically just like basically all south of Israel spanning to the Dead Sea. So
Okay. Gotcha.
yeah, and then even a little bit further over because like Petra is in modern day Jordan, which is to the east of the
Yeah. True. Yeah. Okay. So how does he start off this oracle? So with
Calling out their lack of wisdom. They're fools.
That's what I'm saying. When it seems very personal,
Yeah.
to where like he's not just like y'all messed up.
He
He's
just
like,
starts off with an insult.
yeah, is there no longer any wisdom in Taman? Like he's like, have y'all lost all like sense? Like y'all like it's almost like he's saying y'all have brought this upon yourselves, and he's not even just calling them out for their sin. He's just saying y'all are dumb. Like how y'all are acting is very foolish and.
Which
It's
also,
interesting.
even has their wisdom decayed, it's they have fallen from where they once were.
Yeah. It's like at one time I could have respected y'all.
It kind
Not
of like
anymore.
it makes sense when you look back at the narrative of 2 Kings, and Edom was kind of shown as this like little brother nation to Judah almost, and then whenever trouble fell on Judah, Edom would always join in plundering Jerusalem. And they would like take treasures for themselves. And so I think this is God's way of being like, yeah, y'all, you could have been an ally to Judah when it needed it. Like, you're one of the few nations that I would have allowed them to turn to help for. I mean, I would like that they would trust in me more, but it's like,
Well, yeah, like if you
there has
remember,
to be someone.
I feel like they just did whatever benefited them the most.
yeah,
right?
but
I
if
mean,
you remember the book of Obadiah, that's the shortest book in the Old Testament. It was written to Edom, so that like he was a prophet. Like you remember that Obadiah was sent to Obad Edom, and his whole critique. It's one chapter long, but he's saying you betrayed your brother in his time of need.
Yeah.
And that's like a thing like to where it's kind of interesting to us nowadays because we don't really view like politics like this as much. But like there was a thing where it's like you respected your history, and because Israel and Edom were descended from brothers, they're like, no, we should have a special relationship to where even like whenever the Israelites were like going through the wilderness, like Moses was like, no, we're gonna respect Edom, like we're not gonna harm them, like because it was like no, like that's sin from Esau, like to where it's like we should be brothers,
Yeah.
and so that's why God's critique of them is more personal because y'all aren't just like
Your family.
like the Ammonites and Moabites are distant relatives, right? It's like they're descended from Abraham's nephew Lot. It's like, okay, so we're like distant cousins. Whereas like, well, no, Edom and Israel are supposed to be brothers, and you messed up, and so that's why there's like that more personal nature. I just think it's interesting that God reflects that personal nature. Like it's like,
Yeah.
like it's almost like
He's like, it's not just an insult against like my people. It's an insult against me.
yeah, it's like Israel is his son, and like Esau or Edom is like his like almost like stepson or something. Where it's like
Yeah.
they're not my chosen people, but they're like if Israel wasn't my chosen people, they'd be my chosen people.
It really
Which is-
goes to show that like, despite everything that Israel and Judah have done, like God still feels this very personal closeness to them, to where like he's able to punish, or he's willing to punish, like the nations who have done them wrong to such an extreme degree.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they're safe from it or anything, because they've obviously, defied his commands and whatnot, but it's just like even more so for the nations who have defied Israel.
Yeah, just a question here, because I guess I find that a little interesting. What is God's accusation of Edom in here? Because most of the time in these oracles, he has some accusation that he lines out like, y'all have been prideful, y'all have, done something against
Y'all have
Judah.
been stupid.
But like, what does he actually outline here?
It's just being stupid, but I would also argue that it's indirectly talking about their greed just because of what we've discussed prior, and how whenever it benefited them to work with Judah, they would do so, and then whenever Judah got plundered by the Philistines or somebody, they would be like, oh yeah, we'll hop in on the plundering too. And it's kind of greed, like they just did whatever
I think a lot
benefited them most.
I think a lot of the punishments he's outlining is like, it's all tied to their greed, their like insatiable desire to benefit themselves.
Yeah.
To where like in verses 9 and really verse 9,
Yeah.
but that leads into verse 10, where he's like, if grape gatherers came to you, would they not have gleanings remaining, or would they have not what?
If thieves.
Well, no, and then he talks about like thieves.
And
He's
then
like
thieves, and
he's
then
like thieves usually only steal as much as they need.
Exactly.
He's like y'all are going above and beyond. Like you don't like you're not stealing to provide for yourself. You're stealing to become fat, and like that is like to where obviously just stealing in general is bad. But he's like, you're not even stealing just to provide yourself. Like it's not like they're like a poor person who's like desperate for bread. It's like you're a rich person who just enjoys stealing things because you're greedy. It's like,
and then as their punishment, he says he's going to strip them bare, so that they can't conceal themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I had a hard time even really seeing like an explicit accusation here.
I don't necessarily know if he explicitly outlined it.
Because like even
Yeah,
because to me verse 9 reads as kind of like saying it's more just emphatic of verse 10, where he's saying like even thieves would like leave stuff behind, but like I'm going to lay everything bare.
Yeah.
Like I'm
But
gonna
I think
take
the reason-
everything from you, but
I think my logic and like the kind of the conclusion we've arrived to is the reason he chooses that punishment is because it fits what they had done to
yeah,
Israel. So
which
it's
is
kind of like
fair.
using the context of what Edom has done in the story, and then
yeah, I think that's like what the implication is that like, which I think to be fair that could apply in general to all the nations.
Yeah.
Because the idea is it's their pride. Like he's basically accusing them of the same thing that we would accuse like billionaire CEOs of. Like the idea is that they haven't made good use of what he's given them, and rather than using it to bless people or bless Israel, they've used it to exploit people and serve themselves. And that seems to be like the general thing against everybody. But he says, okay, well, if you could not manage the things I gave you well, I'll take it all from you. And a thief, like a thief would leave stuff behind, but since you were exploiting yourself, I'm not going to bother leaving anything behind for you. Like, so it's like I think it's like a punishment fits the crime thing.
Yeah, which makes sense, especially the verse 11, he said, leave your orphans behind, I will keep them alive,
Yeah.
unless your widows trust in me. It's like, the idea that they have like mishandled what they didn't get, which I guess that actually makes perfect sense when you are considering what he's calling back to Esau. Even saying, for I will bring the disaster of Esau upon him. To me, that almost sounds like he's saying like the disaster of Esau is kind of like the same thing that he did to Esau back then, which is he kind of exiled him.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why he probably brings it up. Like, usually the reason you bring up the original... Like, it's like same thing. Whenever he brings up Jacob, usually he's trying to draw a connection between what Israel is currently doing and what Jacob did.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, okay, well, Esau did not appreciate what I have given him, and therefore, what did he get? Like, he's like, whenever he's like, but Father, is there not another blessing for me? And Jacob says, away from the fatness of the earth will you dwell. And like, so he's like, yeah, okay, you're going to receive nothing. And so it's kind of like God saying, yeah, I'm going to do the same thing to you. But like he's saying, even though you dwelt in the desert, I still gave you so much. But now I'm going to take you to that way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. God's going to actually handle the wealth they've been given.
Yeah.
For I have sworn by myself that Bozrah will become an object of horror, a reproach, a ruin, and an imprecation.
I always like that language whenever God says, "For I have sworn by myself," because like that's like
Yeah.
that's when you know he's serious. Like he does that. Like he does that in Deuteronomy 32.
Yeah.
Haven't brought that up in a while. But then he does it again, like in Revelation, where literally it's like you have like this angel who is like descending down. He stands with like 1 foot on the water and 1 foot on the ground. He lifts up his hands, like says, "I swear in the name of the Lord." But like whenever you swear in the name of God, it's like that is like I mean, nowadays people like swear on the Bible and stuff like that. But like swear, like whenever it's not even just a human swearing in the name of God. It is God himself swearing by himself. It's like okay, this is pretty serious. Like
It's going to happen.
yes, like this is definitely happening, and you should be terrified.
The horror, reproach, and ruin, and imprecation. I think that exact phrasing was used previously.
Yeah. Yeah, that was used with, I think, if not every single other oracle, it's been with like a lot of them, and as well as Judah being an object. That actually may even be Deuteronomy language. I don't know if that exact phrase was used, but
I'm not sure.
In some of these, they'll call them. Well, they'll end up as tells, or they'll be like Sodom and Gomorrah is uninhabited. This is a perpetual ruin. But sometimes it'll be that they're completely destroyed, but then 200 years later, a civilization will then, like, the line is dead. The idea that city is dead, but it's still built upon and lived. It's just no longer that same city. So I don't know, in this case, if these were eventually re-inhabited, but the people there are entirely wiped out.
Yeah, because I mean, there's going to be like by the time you get to the New Testament, there are people dwelling in Edom, but it's called Idumea at the time, and like it's like a slightly different people, but like that's where Herod the Great's from and stuff.
oh,
But yeah,
okay, you probably need to pick the pace up.
yeah,
But
yeah, probably.
let's see, anything else we really need to talk about with Edom?
I hold back
We
real
can
quick.
go to Damascus.
Damascus.
Oh man. Oh.
That should be good.
Okay. One thing I will point out, we didn't talk about it, but we can talk about it maybe when it comes up again. But this verse 19 here, it's going to get repeated at least one more time in a different oracle. But the behold, one will come up like a lion from the thickets of the Jordan against an enduring pasture. For in an instant I will make him run away from it, and whoever is chosen I shall appoint over it. For who is like me, and who will summon me into court, and who is the shepherd who can stand against me? That whole thing is going to get repeated again. So it's probably worth pointing out. Other than that, is there anything else you want to talk about with Edom? No? Okay. Concerning Damascus. Hamath and Arpad are put to shame, for they have heard a bad report. They are melting away. There is anxiety by the sea. It cannot be quieted. Damascus has become limp in their hands. She has turned away to flee, and panic has taken hold of her. Distress and pangs have seized her, like a woman in childbirth. How the city of praise has not been forsaken, the town of my joy. Therefore her young men will fall in her open squares, and all the men of war will be silenced in that day, declares Yahweh of hosts. I will set fire to the wall of Damascus, and it will devour the fortified towers of Ben-Hadad. don't gotta spend too much time on this, but
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's pretty quick. So again, same question. What is Damascus?
The, I guess, the former capital of Aram.
Yeah.
Like, it's the city where the Arameans dwelled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, they have been destroyed by now
Yes.
by the Assyrians. But so basically, Aram or Syria
Yeah.
is Damascus.
Mm.
And yeah, so what? So what does he say about Damascus? Not your question, but
That it's kind of like it's already kind of begun its decline, but he'll just like put an end to it for once and for all.
I'm gonna put it into your torture.
yeah,
Again, we see the woman in childbirth or woman in labor analogy again.
yeah. And again, really quickly, like what does that refer to, or what does that mean? Whenever it says like distress and pangs have ceased, you're like a woman in childbirth.
It's basically like when you think of a woman being in childbirth, it's almost like the worst pain you could imagine.
And it's a pain that builds.
Yeah.
Like it's a pain that like it only gets worse over time. It's like it's pain that's building up to a head.
Yeah, yeah, and
It's
I know-
not like a short pain either. It's long and drawn out.
yeah, and I've also mentioned a couple times. It was especially throughout Isaiah, but also I think also the imagery of a woman with childbirth is often associated, because this even goes back to like Genesis like 3, but the mention of like a woman in childbirth also can refer to like trying to like save oneself or like deliver like come up with a savior. So like Israel is often compared to a woman in childbirth because it's desperately trying to save itself and it can't. And so it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah. And
Yes.
that's where doesn't Isaiah is that where he talks about like giving birth to wind?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's like towards the end, I believe, where he
Yeah.
says like, "Behold, we were like a woman in childbirth, but like behold, it was wind."
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like a person who was trying to push forward, like they thought for all the work they thought they would get a baby, but all they got was a fart. It's like, wow, that was painful for not much.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
Which is
Correction and stuff like that's in the Bible.
Okay.
yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I don't want.
I'm trying not to. My head went right in the gutter.
Sorry, I was not meaning to distract.
No, you're good.
Um,
It's alright, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'll set fire to the wall of Damascus. It will devour the fortified cities of Ben Hadad. So basically, he's just saying he will destroy them as he's promising to destroy everywhere else.
Anything else you want to comment on with Damascus?
Essentially, in all of these, it refers to basically the men being the ones that are destroyed. Like the young ones and the widows will be basically taken care of.
And
But the
one
young
minor
man will fall
thing
here.
I'm going to point out here
That's
is
true.
that, again, we don't see a promise of return.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. I'm trying to think. So far,
Like, how many.
It's only
as he
been
said-
the ones that have had like a direct, like nations that descend from either relatives of Abraham or relatives of Jacob.
Kind
Well,
of.
but did
kind
Edom
of
just get
No,
it?
Edom didn't.
So it was just the ones who were descended from Lot.
So I think it was really just Moab and.
Yeah. It's probably for the sake of Abraham, just
Okay,
like
well-
just like Lot was delivered from Sodom for the sake of Abraham. It's like, well, I'll deliver.
One other thing.
Actually, could be.
I want to look at, I don't know if there's a correlation here. Maybe let's look at their relationship to Judah and or Israel.
Mm-hmm.
The Moabites and the Ammonites were constantly fighting against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. So again,
I don't know. We probably don't need to
Yeah.
linger on it, but it's
just something I
Yeah,
thought
well-
I'd throw out there.
yeah.
Yeah, and that'd be good too later. Okay, we can go and move on because we need to get through this chapter.
At least.
Concerning Kedar and the kingdoms of Hazor, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon struck down. Thus says Yahweh, Arise, go up to Kedar and destroy the men of the east. They will take away their tents and their flocks. They will carry off for themselves their tent curtains, all their goods, and their camels. And they will call out to one another, terror on every side. Run away, flee earnestly, inhabit the depths. O inhabitants of Hazor, declares Yahweh. For Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon has taken counsel against you, and purposed a purpose against you. Arise, go up against the nation which is at ease, which inhabits its land securely, declares Yahweh. It has no gates or bars, they dwell alone. Their camels will become plunder, and their many cattle for spoil. And I will scatter to all the winds those who cut the corners of their hair. And I will bring their disaster from every side, declares Yahweh. Hazor will become a haunt of jackals, a desolation forever. No one will inhabit it. No one will inhabit there, nor will a son of man sojourn in it.
Okay, I want to point out something here. So far, we've gone from, we talked about, okay, so Moab, he promised that they will return. Ammon, he promised that they will return. The Philistines, there was no promise of return.
The only ones he's promised return to are Ammon and Moab.
Yeah.
Moab, and then we go to Edom, and Edom's like, no promise to return. But here we take it even a step farther and says it's going to be a desolate place. So he doesn't even say He doesn't even say that.
He does the
Yeah.
Well,
I think the phrase "a desolation forever, no one will inhabit there, nor will a son of man sojourn in it." I think that was actually used with Edom as well as probably another nation.
Okay.
Because they're all kind of the same thing. It's like God is going to like totally do it. Like,
You're done.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like you're getting the
Toast.
Because remember, this was something.
treatment.
Yeah, because remember, this is something that we talked about a while back, where God basically said, "I'm going to punish you, Judah," but like at the same time, in the long term, the other nations, like, I'm punishing you now, but in the long term, y'all are going to stick around, whereas other nations aren't.
Yeah.
And so that's
It's like, I'll at least keep some of you guys.
Yeah.
These other guys,
They gotta go.
forget about it.
so that's kind of everything is a kind of, this is all happening kind of in light of that, what God's already said.
I think the other one that doesn't specify who is going to take them out, but this one specifies that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon is taking counsel against you. But it declares who the ones delivering the punishment is going to be.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I guess we talked about that with Egypt, or no, I guess with Egypt it was Assyria.
Yeah. The main thing that's interesting about this is that just like the people that he specifically says, it's Hazor and Kedar, which are not necessarily related peoples. Like
Yeah.
Hazor is a city up in like the northern kingdom of Israel,
Mhm.
and Kedar is like a tribe over in Arabia.
Yeah.
And so I'm just assuming that maybe during the time of Jeremiah, they had a closer relationship than normal. Like, because the northern kingdom had been destroyed. So what I'm assuming is that maybe, in light of the northern kingdom's destruction, some Arabian people like migrated over into like that's what my best guess is. Towards like
Yeah.
he associates them together, which I'm just assuming something happened there.
Yeah, because usually Kedar comes up just in like imagery of like the tents of Kedar.
Yeah.
They're just nomads, right? Like
Yeah.
Bedouins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I would assume that it's probably just like nomadic Arabian people or something like that.
No, and
Yeah.
one thing I do want to point out is it seems just based on the wording here, it seems like that they think nothing bad's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
They're cocky, maybe prideful, arrogant.
Yeah.
So they're just acting like nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. You knew at verse 31,
Yeah, that's where I was.
going up against the
Yeah,
nation that's at ease.
31, 32, maybe even back a little farther.
We do probably need to step this
Yeah.
up though, just because
Yeah, no, we
It's
can,
already
we can go
85.
forward, but I
Yeah.
figured just that language there seemed to hint
we
at
got
a
longer
sense of
chapters
pride.
ahead of us.
That seemed like they were had a sense of pride and cockiness, but
Yeah. Okay.
We haven't even got to Babylon yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is the main one.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add there? Okay. That which came as the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah the prophet concerning Elam, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah king of Judah, saying, Thus says Yahweh of hosts, Behold, I am going to break the bow of Elam, the finest of their might. I will bring upon Elam the four winds, from the four ends of heaven. And I will scatter them to all these winds. And there will be no nation to which the banished ones of Elam will not go. So I will shatter Elam before their enemies, and before those who seek their lives, and I will bring calamity upon them, even my burning anger, declares Yahweh. And I will send out the sword after them, until I have consumed them. Then I will set my throne in Elam, and cause king and princes from there to perish, declares Yahweh. But it will be in the last days that I will return the fortunes of Elam, declares Yahweh. Okay, very, very quickly, we'll go through this.
Very quickly.
First question, who is Elam?
It's a group we don't really hear about a whole lot,
Yeah.
but it's like modern day like Iran area, like, which is like it's like weird to me that they're brought up because that's probably one of the most distant nations because like that's on the opposite side of Babylon. Like it's like
Far, far.
yes, it's like if you're following, it's like okay, here's the Dead Sea, Jordan River, all the way up to the Sea of Galilee. You go beyond that, there's Syria. You go beyond that, you've got Assyria and Babylon, on like the Tigris and Euphrates, and then you go further east to like the Persian Gulf, and there's Elam. To where it's weird to me that they're brought up.
Yeah. Is it possible it's referring to a different?
Maybe I can look into it. I don't know, but
I guess later, of course, but
yeah.
So, in like a sentence, basically, what does God say here? What's he gonna do with Elam?
They're going to be no more.
But he will return their fortunes in the, it says in the last days, which we can sit here and debate what that is or when that is, but I don't really think it's.
It's worth just taking a mental note.
Yeah.
For now. But yeah, what's gonna happen? Like, is this a good message, bad message? What's he gonna do?
I'd say bad with a light at the end of the tunnel, though.
Yeah. So he's going to destroy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much the only times we ever hear about Elam. They show up 3 times in Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
One time is Elam is descended from Shem.
Okay.
And then 2 times mentioned in Genesis 14 as someone like Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, came down to wage war on like Sodom and stuff and took Lot captive. And then it never shows up again until 1 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Isaiah. Like so, it's like
wow.
It's never mentioned again until you get to the like exilic time period.
Interesting.
Which is just so.
All right. Well,
Cool.
we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Yeah.
Yay, Babylon!
I mean, not in Babylon, but
Yeah.
Yay, judgment against Babylon.
the word which Yahweh spoke concerning Babylon, the land of the Chaldeans, by the hand of Jeremiah the prophet. Declare and make it heard among the nations. Make it heard and lift up a standard. Do not conceal it, but say, Babylon has been captured. Bel has been put to shame. Marduk has been shattered. Her images have been put to shame. Her idols have been shattered. For a nation has come up against her out of the north. It will make her land an object of horror, and there will be no inhabitants in it. Both man and beast have wandered off. They have gone away. In those days and at that time, declares Yahweh, the sons of Israel will come, both they and the sons of Judah as well. They will go along weeping as they go, and it will be Yahweh their God they will seek. They will ask for the way to Zion, turning their faces in its direction and saying, Come, in order that they may join themselves to Yahweh in an everlasting covenant that will not be forgotten.
Okay, so I'm gonna just stop right here. So this is what I believe he's referring to or hinting at Persia coming in and conquering Babylon, and then the king of Persia allowing the Israelites to come back to Judah and rebuild the temple and the walls and the city. I believe that's what this is referring to.
Yeah, for sure.
King Cyrus,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. Okay, sorry, we can move on.
Very good. My people have become lost sheep. Their shepherds have led them astray. They have made them turn away on the mountains. They have gone along from mountain to hill and have forgotten their resting place. All who came out against them have devoured them. And their adversaries have said, We are not guilty, inasmuch as they have sinned against Yahweh, who is the abode of righteousness, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. Wander away from the midst of Babylon, and go forth from the land of the Chaldeans. Be also like male goats at the head of the flock. For behold, I am going to arouse and bring up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the land of the north, and they will arrange their battle lines against her. From there she will be taken captive. Their arrows will be like a warrior who makes one childless, who does not return empty-handed. Chaldea will become spoil. All who take her spoil will have enough, declares Yahweh, because you are glad, because you exult, O you who plunder my inheritance, because you skip about like a threshing heifer, and neigh like valiant steeds. Your mother will be greatly ashamed. She who gave you birth will be humiliated. Behold, she will be the least of the nations, a wilderness, a parched land, in a desert. Because of the wrath of Yahweh, she will not be inhabited, but she will be completely desolate. Everyone who passes by Babylon will be in desolation, and will hiss because of all her wounds. Arrange your battle lines against Babylon on every side, all you who bend the bow. Shoot at her. Do not be sparing with your arrows, for she has sinned against Yahweh. Raise a loud shout against her on every side. She has given herself up. Her pillars have fallen. Her walls have been pulled down. For this is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance on her. As she has done to others, so do to her. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and the one who seizes the sickle at the time of harvest. From before the sword of the oppressor, they will each turn back to his own people, and they will each flee to his own land. Israel is a scattered flock. The lions have banished them away. The first one who devoured him was the king of Assyria, and this last one who has broken his bones is Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Therefore, thus says Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I am going to punish the king of Babylon and his land, just as I punished the king of Assyria. And I will return Israel back to his pasture, and he will graze on Carmel and Bashan, and his desire will be satisfied in the hill country of Ephraim and Gilead. In those days and at that time, declares Yahweh, search will be made for the iniquity of Israel, but there will be none, and for the sins of Judah, but they will not be found. For I will pardon those whom I leave as a remnant. Against the land of Merathaim, go up against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod. Actually, okay, we'll stop there real quick. Through verse 20. Okay, so what happens there?
So, long story short, he says, I sent the Babylonians against my people to punish them for their sins. And as a result, they think that they're innocent. But the issue is, they would be innocent if they were doing it out of obedience to me. But that's not why they were doing it. They were doing it out of pride, and sin, and selfish ambition. And therefore, I use them to punish my people, but they're still guilty of the greater sin, and therefore, I'm going to destroy them even harder. And so that's kind of like this whole thing. The verse that I really liked is verse 17, where he says, Israel is a scattered flock.
Yeah.
The lions have banished them away. So 2 lions, right? The first one who devoured them was the king of Assyria, and the last one who has broken his bones is Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So like, that right there summarizes God's perspective of Israel. God is their shepherd, they are his sheep, but they're a scattered flock. Right now, the kingdom has been divided, and at this point, they've been divided for hundreds of years. But he still views them as one flock. Mm-hmm. And he says, one lion came to destroy them, and that was the king of Assyria. That was within the northern kingdom. And then, the second lion is the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, and he's taking Judah captive as well. But then he says, keep in mind what I did to the first lion, right? I sent the Babylonians to destroy the Assyrians. I'm about to send somebody else to destroy the Babylonians. So it's like,
it's like the inverse of what God said to Judah, where like Israel sinned against God, and so God sent them and like sent Assyria to destroy them. And he's basically told Judah, "Look what I did to Israel. Don't think I'll do the same thing to you."
Yeah.
And now it's like the inverse.
Yeah. Look at what I did to Assyria. I'm going to do the same thing to you.
It's like the anti-Israel and the anti-Judah.
Yeah. And then in the midst of that, he also says, "I'm going to bring my people back. I'm going to restore them. I'm going to forgive them. I'm going to redeem them. It's going to be cool." I'll come back later to see how that plays out.
Later.
Yeah, because he talks about like the new covenant,
the
everlasting covenant, and it talks about specifically Israel and Judah being reunified.
Yeah.
Which hasn't happened yet.
I do like the imagery from 17 of like first the flesh is devoured, and then a scavenger will come by and crack the bones open to get at the marrow and get at the brain if there's nothing else to eat. And so this is a remnant of the remnant. And then the ones that remain after the bones have been cracked open, those are the ones that are going to be left to be pardoned.
Yeah. I also thought, because again with the whole like, it's both Israel and Judah. In verse 19 it says, "And his desire will be satisfied in the hill country of Ephraim and Gilead." That's the land like the northern kingdom. Which again I just think is interesting because he's talking about not just Judah coming back, but this is like the northern land. of Gilead and Ephraim. So this is talking about like a future like restoration of the whole entire like nation, of not just Judah but also Israel.
Yes.
And then again, in verse 20, we get the same thing that we talked about in Isaiah, where though your sins are, scarlet, they'll become as white as snow. Search will be made for the iniquity of Israel, but there will be none. And for the sins of Judah, but they will not be found. For I will pardon those whom I leave as a remnant. So he adds there, like, it's the remnant that their sins will be forgiven.
Yeah. And part of that, I'm thinking. Oh no, never mind.
And they're going to be surrounded by on all sides, different nations all attacking them at once.
Yeah, in the same way that Babylon surrounded Judah and Jerusalem, the same thing's going to happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there anything else that stuck out to y'all? I would love to go verse by verse, but I'm trying to think how we want to.
No, I think we're good. Like, I think at this point, if we just cover the main stuff, like, cover the main message, and then, like, if there's any, verses that stick out.
An overview.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it is good to, like, highlight, stuff when it comes up if it
Yeah.
is good discussion.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spend too much time on less important stuff and then not have enough time to talk about the really good stuff at the same time. Okay, so we can go ahead and move on. Against the land of Merathaim, go up against it, and against the inhabitants of Akkad. Put them to the sword, and devote them to destruction, declares Yahweh. And do according to all that I have commanded you. The noise of battle is in the land, and great destruction. How the hammer of the whole earth has been cut in pieces and broken. How Babylon has become an object of horror among the nations. I set a snare for you, and you were also caught, O Babylon, but you yourself did not know. You have been found and also seized, because you have engaged in conflict with Yahweh. Yahweh has opened his armory, and has brought forth the weapons of his indignation, for it is a work of the Lord Yahweh of hosts, in the land of the Chaldeans. Come to her from the farthest border, open up her barns, pile her up like heaps, and devote her to destruction. Let nothing of her remain. Put all her young bulls to the sword. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe be upon them, for their day has come, the time of their punishment. There is a sound of those who flee and escape from the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh our God, vengeance for his temple. Summon many against Babylon, all those who bend the bow. Encamp against her on every side. Let there be no escape. Repay her according to her work. According to all that she has done, so do to her. For she has become arrogant against Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore her young men will fall in her open squares, and all her men of war will be silenced in that day, declares Yahweh. Behold, I am against you, O arrogant one, declares Lord Yahweh of hosts. For your day has come, the time when I will punish you. The arrogant one will stumble and fall, with no one to raise him up. And I will set fire to his cities, and it will devour him on every side. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the sons of Israel are oppressed, and the sons of Judah as well. And all who took them captive have held them fast. They have refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He will vigorously plead their case, so that he may bring relief to the earth. But turmoil to the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword against the Chaldeans, declares Yahweh. And against the inhabitants of Babylon, and against her officials and her wise men. A sword against the oracle priest, and they will become fools. A sword against her mighty men, and they will be shattered. A sword against their horses, and against their chariots, and against all the foreigners who were in the midst of her, and they will become women. A sword against her treasures, and they will be plundered. A sword on her waters, and they will be dried up. For it is a land of graven images, and they are mad over terrifying idols. Therefore the desert creatures will live there along with the jackals. The ostriches will also live in it, and it will never again be lived in, or dwelt in from generation to generation. As when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah with its neighbors, declares Yahweh. No man will live there, nor will any son of man sojourn in it. Behold, a people is coming from the north, and a great nation and many kings will be aroused from the remote parts of the earth. They seize their bow and javelin. They are cruel and have no compassion. Their voice roars like the sea, and they ride on horses, arranged like a man for the battle, against you, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon has heard the report about them, and his hands hang limp. Distress has taken hold of him, agony like a woman in childbirth. Behold, one will come up like a lion from the thicket of the Jordan to an enduring pasture. For in an instant I will make them run away from it, and whoever is chosen I will appoint over it. For who is like me, and who will summon me into court? And who then is the shepherd who can stand before me? Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh, which he has counseled against Babylon, and his purposes which he has purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely they will drag them off, even the little ones of the flock. Surely he will make their pasture desolate because of them. At the sound, Babylon has been seized, the earth is shaken, and an outcry is heard among the nations.
It's the second time tonight that the phrase, who will summon me into court has been used.
Yeah, so verse 44, the entire verse, that was repeated.
Mm-hmm.
What nation
Bro,
was
let's read
that?
in verse 19 against the...
What was that, Edom?
I think it may have been Edom.
19. Yeah, Edom. Verse 19.
Because we didn't talk about it, but I did point it out because it did get repeated.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if you really have time to break it down, but because it is interesting. But,
Yeah.
This is
God is
So-
justifying his actions.
He's just saying, like, there's nobody who can hold me accountable or get on my level, essentially.
yeah. So really broad question here.
He is justice.
Yeah, he is justice. Like, I am justice, there's nothing you can do to try to counter me.
So everything he says against Babylon, what does it sound like? Like the way that he's specifically wording this against Babylon, what does it remind you of?
To me, it sounds kind of similar to the things that he said against Judah.
Yeah.
Just because it sounds like this actually even stuck out to me. Even the fact that he's bringing up the imagery of a lion, it goes deeper than just that. But if you think about it, whenever you think about who is associated with a lion throughout Scripture, it's usually Judah.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's like, Assyria is also a lion, and Babylon's a lion. Like, I sent Assyria the lion to destroy Israel. Now I'm sending Babylon the lion to destroy Judah. And guess what? I'm going to send Persia the lion to destroy Babylon. And it's like, so all of a sudden, everything's being compared to a lion. And typically in Scripture, Judah is the one compared to a lion. But that language primarily came up as he's talking to Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And then a bunch of the other language throughout it has rang as somewhat familiar.
Yeah, even like up until this point, really, if you ever hear a nation from the north, you think Babylon.
Yes.
Like, that's what you think of, like nothing else. But now Babylon is facing the nation from the north.
Yeah.
That God is going to bring to punish them. Like that's exactly what most of this book has been revolving, or not the entire book, but part of what has been around is specifically that God is going to punish Judah, and specifically from a nation from the north, which is Babylon.
Yeah, and that's how you could, these chapters should comfort the people of Judah in their exile, right? The idea is that, it's kind of like Habakkuk, right? And Habakkuk's whole issue is he's like, God, you're going to send the Babylonians to destroy us, but they're worse. And God says, well, yeah, I'm going to send people to destroy the Babylonians too. So here, as you're reaching the end of the book, God is saying, just as I did to Judah, so I will do to you. And so it's and also he's criticizing them for their pride. You think that you're so hot because you can destroy my people. But he's like, no, I'm the one who allowed you to destroy my people.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had said no, you wouldn't have been able to do it. And so, to prove to you how not hot you are, I'm going to raise up another place from further north, and they're going to destroy you. And so it's
And my people will come back to where they...
Yeah, and my people will come back. You ain't coming back.
This is just making me think of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but the irony is for just a modern comparison, if you go to modern day Babylon, the city, it's a heap of ruins. It's an archaeological site. If you go to modern day Jerusalem, that place is bustling. Right? It's huge. It's the center of the 3 Abrahamic religions. It's a pretty big deal. Whereas you go to modern day Babylon, and literally nobody inhabits it. It's literally just a place where Indiana Jones people go to, look for lost treasures and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. One other thing I want to highlight, verse 28. There is a sound of those who flee and escape from the land of Babylon to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh our God, vengeance for his temple. I thought that was interesting because thus far in Jeremiah we have not heard about the destruction of the temple.
It's true.
That's not going to be mentioned until the final chapter. Like he mentioned the walls being torn down. He mentioned houses and palaces being torn down. He mentioned the people being taken captive. But he has been very careful to not mention the destruction of the temple yet. But right here he says, like, in the midst of all that, like, the whole chapter should be like, yay, God's going to, like, he's going to bring judgment upon our enemies. He's going to bring us back home. But then in the midst of all that, vengeance for my temple. And if you're a person from Judah who's reading this, like, you're reaching a detail that thus far Jeremiah has omitted to where it's almost like you can kind of ignore it. It's like, oh, like, because really, like, that is the greatest condemnation against the people of Judah. It's not that their walls were torn down. It's not that their houses were torn down. It's not that they were sent into exile. The greatest condemnation for them against them for their sin is the fact that because of their sin, God's temple was destroyed. And so in the midst of all this, as they're feeling all high and mighty, being like, yeah, you get it, Babylon. You get what you deserve. God says, I'm taking vengeance for my temple. And the people of Judah have to reconcile, oh, like, we're still guilty. It's like, this isn't an entirely triumphant moment. It's triumphant because God is bringing about justice, but he's bringing about justice for stuff that we brought. Like, the only reason the Babylonians destroyed the temple is because of our sin. And so, like, I think that it's cool that in the moment, like, he throws that in there to where it kind of almost is like a jab against the people of Judah to where God says, let me be clear here. I am not doing this to Babylon just because I want to take care of my people. He says, no, y'all are the ones who did this to yourselves. I'm doing this to take vengeance for myself. He says, that was my temple that they destroyed, and I'm taking vengeance. And it was destroyed because of your sin. So it's like, he says, let me be clear here. I'm doing this for my glory, not because you deserve for me to destroy your enemies. It's like, no, your enemies deserved to have victory over you. That's why I sent them. And like, so I think it's like a very like sobering like thing, like kind of like what we were talking about last week with it really fleshes out the character of God to where his motives are being like, they're very particular to where it's like, let me be clear why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this so that you can get the last laugh on Babylon. It's so that I can get the last laugh on Babylon, and so I can fulfill my good purposes through you. But you don't deserve any of this, Judah. And so I think that's kind of interesting. I like that verse.
Yeah, that's true. I did notice that it stuck out, but I hadn't really thought about it that way. That's true. Yeah, is there anything else I wanted to mention? There's a lot we could talk about, but
We got
No,
64.
I've already brought up the,
chapter
I've already
to
brought
cover.
up the whole purge thing at the beginning, and that's all I really wanted to say. So
cool. All right, we'll go ahead and move on then. Thus says Yahweh, behold, I am going to arouse against Babylon and against the inhabitants of Leb-Kamai the spirit of a destroyer. I will send strangers to Babylon, that they may winnow her, and may empty her land to destruction. For on every side they will be against her, in the day of her calamity. Let not him who bends the bow bend it, nor let him rise up in his scale armor. So do not spare her young men, devote all her army to destruction. They will fall down slain in the land of the Chaldeans, and pierce through in their streets. For neither Israel nor Judah has been widowed by his God, by Yahweh of hosts, although their land is full of guilt, before the Holy One of Israel. Flee from the midst of Babylon, and each of you escape with his life. Do not be silenced in her iniquity, for this is Yahweh's time of vengeance. He is going to render recompense to her. Babylon has been a golden cup in the hand of Yahweh, intoxicating all the earth. The nations have drunk of her wine. Therefore the nations are going mad. Suddenly Babylon has fallen and been broken. Wail over her. Take balm for her pain. Perhaps she may be healed. We applied healing to Babylon, but she was not healed. Forsake her and let us each go to his own country. For her judgment has touched heaven. It lifts up to the very skies. Yahweh has brought about our righteousness. Come and let us recount in Zion the work of Yahweh our God. Sharpen the arrows, fill the quivers. Yahweh has aroused the spirit of the kings of the Medes, because his purpose is against Babylon, to destroy it. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh, vengeance for his temple. Lift up a standard against the walls of Babylon. Make strong the watch. Raise up watchmen. Establish men in ambush. For Yahweh has both purposed and performed what he spoke concerning the inhabitants of Babylon. O you who dwell by abundant waters, abundant in treasures, your end is come, the measure of your end. Yahweh of hosts has sworn by himself. Surely I will fill you with a population like locusts, and they will cry out with shouts of victory over you. It is he who made the earth by his power, who established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding he stretched out the heavens. When he gives forth his voice, there is a tumult of waters in the heavens, and he causes the clouds to ascend from the end of the earth. He makes lightning for the rain and brings forth the wind from his storehouses. All mankind is senseless, devoid of knowledge. Every goldsmith is put to shame by his graven image, for his molten images are a lie, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, a work of mockery. In the time of their punishment they will perish. The portion of Jacob is not like these, for the maker of all is he, and to the tribe of his inheritance. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He says, you are my instrument of shattering, my weapon of war. And with you I shatter nations, and with you I destroy kingdoms. With you I shatter the horse and his rider, and with you I shatter the chariot and his rider, and with you I shatter man and woman, and with you I shatter old man and youth, and with you I shatter choice men and virgin, and with you I shatter the shepherd and his flock, and with you I shatter the farmer and his pair of oxen, and with you I shatter governors and prefects. But I will repay Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea for all their evil that they have done in Zion before your eyes, declares Yahweh. Behold, I am against you, O destroying mountain, who destroys the whole earth, declares Yahweh. And I will stretch out my hand against you, and roll you down from the crags, and I will make you a burnt-out mountain. They will not take from you even a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations. But you will be a perpetual desolation, declares Yahweh. Lift up a standard in the land. Blow a trumpet among the nations. Set apart the nations against her. Summon against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a marshal against her. Bring up the horses like bristly locusts. Set apart the nations against her, the kings of the Medes, their governors and all their prefects, and every land of their rule. So the land quakes and writhes, for the purposes of Yahweh against Babylon stand, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitants. The mighty men of Babylon have ceased fighting. They inhabit the strongholds. Their might is dried up. They are becoming like women. Their dwelling places are set on fire. The bars of her gates are broken. One runner runs to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to give a message to the king of Babylon, that his city has been captured from end to end. The fords have also been seized, and they have also burned the marshes with fire, and the men of war are terrified. We'll stop there real quick.
It's exactly halfway through the chapter.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I think that this chapter is a nice companion piece to Isaiah chapter 40.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember in the context of Isaiah, Isaiah is actually ministering during the time period when Judah was facing the Assyrians.
Yes.
But at the end of Isaiah 39, he predicts that while they will be delivered from the Assyrians, they will eventually be delivered into the hands of the Babylonians. And so Isaiah 40 is that famous passage where it says, "Comfort, comfort my people who are in Zion." And then you get the passage that's about John the Baptist, like a voice cries in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord.
Yeah.
And Isaiah 40, the whole point is that God says, because of your sin, I'm going to send you into captivity. But Isaiah 40 is a chapter where he's comforting the people, saying, I'm going to bring you back home. And it's almost like Isaiah 40 is it's almost like Isaiah 40 and this chapter are two sides of the same coin. Because in Isaiah 40, he says, I'm going to use Babylon as my instrument to punish you, but I'm going to deliver you nevertheless. And then in this chapter, Jeremiah is talking specifically to the Babylonians, and he's saying, I used you as an instrument to punish and chastise my people, but now I'm going to punish you. And so once again, it means to like Isaiah 40 is good news for the people of Judah that means bad news for the Babylonians, whereas Jeremiah 51 is bad news for the Babylonians that means good news for the people of Judah. And the reason I brought that up is because in verse verse 15, right? It says, "It is He," talking about God, "it is He who made the earth by His power, who established the world by His wisdom, and by His understanding He stretched out the heavens." And that is language that specifically is drawn from Isaiah 40. To where if you go, let me just click there real quick. If you go to Isaiah 40, this is where God, remember, like He's saying, "Do you not know? Have you not heard? Like, I'm the one who created everything." And I'm not going to read the whole thing. But like it says, "To whom then will you liken God? Or what likeness will you compare with Him?" And I think he says something similar in Jeremiah there. But when you get to verse 21, "Do you not know? Have you not heard? Has it not been declared to you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is He who inhabits above the circles of the earth, and its inhabitants are like the grasshoppers. It is He who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to inhabit." Like, that language, like stretching out the heavens, that is unique to Isaiah. And so it seems like Jeremiah is specifically commenting on that. Because he uses the same language. He's like, it was by His wisdom that He established things. He's the one who stretched out the heavens. And so it seems like either this was a common term that they used in that time period and we just didn't know about it, or Jeremiah is specifically alluding back to Isaiah to say, like, he's making the same point. Right? Like, if you know who God is, you should realize that He's the head honcho and He's got everything in control. So Isaiah, like Isaiah says, the people of Judah can be comforted by that. But like Jeremiah says, the people of Babylon should be terrified by that. Because that means he's like, yeah, I can use you as an instrument, but I can also destroy you. And so you should have walked humbly before me. And so I just think I think it's cool how they're like two sides at the same point.
Yeah. That's true. Anything else that stuck out to you here? There's a lot.
I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it. There's the one thing that you had highlighted about the Revelation connection if you wanted to.
Yeah. I think it's worth noting because, I mean, we can also wait till we go through the whole chapter because when you go through that entire chapter in Revelation, like, we haven't even got to the full, like Revelation 18 quotes, like, through this entire chapter.
Okay.
Like, even later on, it's going to mention, like, the millstone thing.
Yeah.
And literally in, like, I think... Yeah, so maybe we can talk about it later. I can just mention it now, but
well, we can go into more in depth about it in a second. But in general, it's important to remember. This is just relevant probably throughout the entire book of Jeremiah. We haven't really talked about it a whole lot, but throughout Scripture, Babylon is used as a term not only to refer to the empire, but it also becomes like an end-all, be-all, like just like all-encompassing term for the enemies of God. Yeah, and so by the time you get to Revelation. There's this figure described as like the harlot Babylon. And people debate about who exactly the harlot Babylon is supposed to be and stuff like that. But the one thing we can all agree on is that it is like one of the final great enemies of like the church and of Israel and of the people of God, right? And by the time you get to later Revelation, there is a thing where it says like fallen is Babylon. And like it will detail the fall of Babylon. And we'll talk about this, I guess, at the end of the chapter. But a lot of the language is pulled from like this, and we talked about it in Isaiah as well because Isaiah also had predictions about the fall of Babylon. But
yeah, so in this chapter it's like much more explicit because in Isaiah, like it says it's translated like Babylon has fallen, but like the word is technically different. In here, when it says suddenly Babylon has fallen, that's like the exact same words as in Revelation where it says Babylon has fallen.
Yeah.
And then you go read through that chapter. It's not verbatim, but like how it says Babylon has fallen and then it says will over her. Like in that chapter, it goes from like Babylon's fallen and then it goes into like lamenting over Babylon, and it's going to go into like the merchants and like all the goods, whereas this talks about like the craftsmen and stuff.
Yeah. And so it's just worth keeping in mind, once again, throughout all the stuff we've been talking about, we've primarily been interpreting this through the like historical lens of the people of Judah. But as is the case with pretty much all prophecy, there are multiple layers to like the application. Like there's usually a short-term application, a long-term application, and usually some sort of spiritual application as well. Yeah. And so we've mainly been looking at the short-term application because that's what, like, it's usually the most straightforward, and it's like the easiest to interpret because it's like in the immediate context of the original audience.
Yeah,
But-
well, and you kind of need that to be able to interpret, like
The rest.
when you're reading Revelation, you need to know the short term.
Yeah.
Like what is assuming that this is like the last book we had of scripture, what this is saying, you need to know that in
Yeah.
order to know how it's being used in Revelation.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to mainly talk about, but it is worth noting how, like, honestly, just we mentioned this before, but Revelation in general is one of those books where if you don't know the Old Testament, it seems confusing and it seems ambiguous, but like you really need to have a good grasp on the Old Testament and you realize how much they call back to it.
It's actually very dangerous to study Revelation if you don't understand the Old Testament really well, because you're just
Yeah.
going to end up some really weird interpretations. Whereas if you understand the Old Testament, Revelation is actually fairly straightforward. Like there's some things that are confusing, but most of it, it's like it's explained by the Old Testament context.
Yeah.
So
And so, yeah. So we'll talk more about that in a second.
Yeah.
We got through what, verse like 33?
32, I think.
Oh, cool.
George would have liked that. He missed out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to spend too much time in Revelation,
I
but I
know,
do
I-
want to like connect the dots
Yeah.
and be like, just because we don't talk about it a whole lot. We talk like people either talk about like they either don't talk about Revelation or they only talk about it. But
Yeah.
whenever they do talk about Revelation, it's in a vacuum.
Yes.
So I do want to like connect the dots and be like, hey, look, like this is where Revelation 18 comes from.
Yeah. Well, especially because it's just a helpful reminder to be like whenever you're in Revelation and you're like, oh yeah, this is like a reference to Jeremiah. Some people be like, okay, like, and they don't feel like going back and looking at it. Whereas if you're going through Jeremiah and you highlight this is where it's going, it's like it's easier to be like, oh, okay, that's why this is important to study. You know what I mean? Like it reminds you, like yes, like it's worth putting in the work to understanding this because it does have an implication beyond just the ancient people of Judah and stuff like that. But-
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So okay, I'll go ahead and read on. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. At the time it is stamped firm. Yet in a little while the time of harvest will come for her. Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon has devoured me and brought me into confusion. He has set me down like an empty vessel. He has swallowed me like a sea monster. He has filled his stomach with my delicacies. He has rinsed me away. May the violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, the inhabitant of Zion will say. And may my blood be upon the inhabitants of Chaldea, Jerusalem will say. Therefore thus says Yahweh, behold, I am going to plead your case, and exact full vengeance for you. And I will dry up her sea, and make her fountain dry. Babylon will become a heap of ruins, a haunt of jackals, an object of horror and hissing, without inhabitants. They will roar together like young lions. They will growl like lions' cubs. When they become heated up, I will set them before their feast and make them drunk, that they may exult and may sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake up, declares Yahweh. I will bring them like lambs to the slaughter, like rams together with male goats. How Shishak has been captured, and the praise of the whole earth has been seized. How Babylon has become an object of horror among the nations. The sea has come up over Babylon. She has been covered with its tumultuous waves. Her cities have become an object of horror, a parched land and a desert, a land in which no man lives, and through which no son of man passes. I will punish Bel in Babylon, and I will make what he has swallowed come out of his mouth, and the nations will no longer stream to him. Even the wall of Babylon has fallen down. Come forth from her midst, my people, and each of you escape with his life from the burning anger of Yahweh. Now lest your heart grow faint, and you fear the report that will be heard in the land, for the report will come 1 year, and after that another report in another year, and violence will be in the land, with ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, days are coming, when I will punish the graven images of Babylon, and her whole land will be put to shame, and all her slain will fall in their midst. Then heaven and earth, and all that is in them, will shout for joy over Babylon, for the destroyers will come to her from the north, declares Yahweh. Indeed, Babylon is to fall for the slain of Israel, as also for Babylon the slain of all the earth have fallen. You who have escaped the sword, go, do not stand around. Remember Yahweh from afar, and let Jerusalem come upon your heart. We are ashamed because we have heard reproach, Dishonor has covered our faces, for strangers have entered the holy places of the house of Yahweh. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares Yahweh, when I will punish her graven images. And the mortally wounded will groan throughout her land. Though Babylon should ascend to the heavens, and though she should fortify her lofty stronghold, from me destroyers will come to her, declares Yahweh. The sound of an outcry from Babylon, and of great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. For Yahweh is going to destroy Babylon, and he will make her loud noise vanish from her. And their waves will roar like many waters. The rumbling of their voices sounds forth. For the destroyer is coming against her, against Babylon, and her mighty men will be captured. Their bows are shattered, for Yahweh is a God of recompense. He will fully repay. I will make her princes and her wise men drunk, her governors, her prefects, and her mighty men, that they may sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake up, declares the King, whose name is Yahweh of hosts. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the broad wall of Babylon will be completely razed, and her high gates will be set on fire. So the peoples will toil for nothing, and the nations become weary only for fire. The message... We'll stop there. Yeah, we'll read through. The message which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Seraiah the son of Neriah, the grandson of Messiah, when he went with Zedekiah the king of Judah to Babylon in the 4th year of his reign. Now Seraiah was quartermaster. So Jeremiah wrote in a single scroll all the calamity which would come upon Babylon, that is, all these words which have been written concerning Babylon. Then Jeremiah said to Seraiah, as soon as you come to Babylon, then see that you read all these words aloud. And then you will say, you, O Yahweh, have promised concerning this place to cut it off, so that there will be nothing inhabiting it, whether man or beast, but it will be a perpetual desolation. And as soon as you finish reading this scroll, you will tie a stone to it and throw it into the middle of the Euphrates. And then you will say, just so shall Babylon sink down and not rise again because of the calamity that I am going to bring upon her, and they will become utterly weary. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah. All right.
Wow.
So what happens there?
A lot of stuff.
So imagery that I thought was interesting. The water imagery.
Mhm.
On one hand, he says that he's going to dry up Babylon and all her fountains, which that's interesting from a ancient perspective because like one of the like Nebuchadnezzar, he had his famous like hanging gardens of Babylon, and there's like a lot of water associated with Babylon, to where even the city of Babylon, I believe that either the Tigris or the Euphrates actually passed through the city. I'm pretty sure. So like it was associated with like a lot of water, but he says I'm going to dry it up, which is like basically taking away everything you have that's good. But then at the same time, a few verses later, he talks about flooding the place, like with destruction.
Yeah.
And why I think that's interesting is because it's almost like a reversal of the flood story. Because when you read the flood story in Genesis, it's about the earth being flooded and then being dried up. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, like in drying up is a good thing. Whereas here, it's like, no, the drying up takes place first and then the flood. Which the idea is like, there's no hope for Babylon. It's like they're experiencing the easy part first. It's like, I'm going to take what you have from you and then I'm going to destroy you. And then he talks about like the walls being torn down and stuff, which is that's what the Persians are going to do. And I think that's interesting because it specifically says, I mean, the end of the chapter says that it's during the 4th year of Zedekiah, and it says that's whenever he sent this message over, which is well before. I mean, that's like in the 600s BC. So that's well before, like over a century before. A little less than a century before Babylon actually fell to the Persians. Because that would have been in like 539 BC. Mm-hmm. But I think that's interesting. Like it's like he's clearly predicting that stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was also I kind of had an aha moment, and this might be what Sean's getting at, but also could be kind of missing the point a little bit. Is that we talked about the Euphrates drying up, right? And at when we go into Revelation, it also talks about the Euphrates drying up, correct? And maybe this.
So it doesn't specifically bring up the Euphrates drying up in this, but yes.
Like
in Revelation.
Essentially, Revelation mentions in it that foreshadows. So maybe foreshadowing destruction here, and then Revelation that also being a sign of the end times and foreshadowing destruction. Maybe I'm stretching it a little bit, but
Yeah, I think there's more of a contextual reason in Revelation why that happens, but there could be a connection there.
Yeah, because whenever, as far as Revelation goes, which is not the main thing I want to emphasize, I'm mainly just the fact that chapter 18 is like very explicitly quoting from here.
Yes.
So like we'll get there.
The main thing that this and Revelation 18 have in common is that there's a evil figure known as Babylon, and God will destroy them, and in the end, that is a thing that should cause us to rejoice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's mixed reactions because so many people have come to depend on Babylon, and therefore many people are lamenting at Babylon's destruction. But in the end, those who are faithful to God will rejoice, and the nations will ultimately find it to be a good thing in the end. So like that's like the main like common stuff that they have in common.
Yeah. Yeah. What other like language sticks out to y'all?
There's something in there that reminded me of verse 37. It's very similar to what he says about Judah. Babylon will become a heap of ruins, a haunt of jackals, an object of horror, and hissing without inhabitants.
Yeah.
I mean, he says this about a lot of like this is just kind of a way of referring to destruction, but you hear it in reference to Judah a lot.
Yeah, and also the language about in 39 that he'll like make them drunk. See, I don't think he's mentioned really like a perpetual sleep up until this point, but there's also that. This whole idea of like them falling asleep and never waking up.
Well, I also think it's interesting. It's like the idea of exploiting not their greediness, but their what's the word? Like their comfort, or like indulgence. Yeah, like so. It's like when they become heated up. Like usually the imagery of heated up. It's like whenever you talk about an animal being in heat, it's like the idea of like mating, right? Like so, the idea is he's gonna find them in a moment of like ecstasy, and he's just going to allow them to go too far. Like so, like the imagery is of a person who's going out to party to get like to have some drinks, and God says, I'm going to intentionally allow them to get drunk, and then I'm going to put them in their car, and I'm going to make them get in a wreck. Like it's almost like he's going to use their indulgence against them, and then he says, and may they sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake up. Like in other places in the Bible, like God criticizes people who are like too obsessed with getting too much sleep. It's like he's like, okay, you want sleep? I'll give you sleep, and I will make you have a perpetual sleep. So like the idea is he's taking their indulgence, and he's like, oh, you want to treat yourself? Well, I'll make you treat yourself. You want to get drunk? I'll make you so drunk that you make terrible decisions. I'll make you so tired that you die. So it's like the idea is he's it's not that he's taking those things away from them. It's that he's like, I will give you what you want, and it will lead to your destruction. Yeah. And I think that's the imagery is interesting.
Yeah, that's true. So here's the lamb to the slaughter. That hasn't really been brought up much lately.
Yeah, that was interesting language just because it reminds you of Isaiah 53. Like just specifically the language, I will make them like a lamb to the slaughter, which you couldn't have a greater contrast. Like Isaiah 53 is talking about this like faithful suffering servant who's dying for the sake of the wicked, whereas right here you've got this unfaithful pagan servant of God who is dying to avenge the righteous. Like it's like opposites, but I mean,
true.
But this might not be a direct reference to Isaiah 53, just because the idea of a lamb being led to the slaughter isn't like a crazy comparison to make. But we don't see that specific language showing up a lot, I don't think.
Yeah. That's why I don't know if I make that connection. I guess, at the very least, it might just make sense with verse 39, where it's kind of like they're being led to the slaughter in the sense like he's allowing them, like how you just outlined them, like allowing them to kind of walk themselves into
They're walking to their own destruction. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like, I'm going to let them think they're going to a party, but they don't realize it's the last party they're going to have.
Yeah, like it's not a lamb in the innocent way, but like the almost like naive way.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like a fattened calf. Like that's like he's fattening up the animal so that the slaughter is like it's a good one.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know what bell is.
I think that's like a reference to like a god. I think. I could be wrong. Let me check.
I could see that.
Sounds like a god.
All the nations would no longer stream to him.
Yeah, that sounds like
Yeah. It just means Lord. So it's like it's the Babylonian equivalent of Baal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then 45, I think that was repeated earlier, and it is also in Revelation too. There's like the coming forth from her midst, escaping his life from the burning anger of Yahweh.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like Sodom and Gomorrah, where it's like he basically is warning Lot to like escape before he destroys the city.
Yeah, the righteous escaping the judgment of the wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's intentional, but I think didn't he mention that he was going to destroy them like Sodom and
Yeah.
Gomorrah? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think he mentions that later, right?
yeah.
So,
I think it was earlier.
I think it was earlier. But
Yeah, but I imagine the language is somewhat like intentional.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's what it seems like to me. Like, and again, in Revelation it's very similar too,
Yeah.
where it's like
Is it-
get out before like I let loose
Yeah.
destruction.
I mean, if you're writing this letter and all the officials are getting it, especially those from Judah, you're assuming they know their Torah and they will pick up on these references.
What I also think is so funny is the fact that like, if the Babylonians saw this, like right now the Babylonians have like a somewhat good opinion of Jeremiah because like. You know, he was like, hey guys, surrender to the Babylonians. This is God's will. And then, like, if they saw this letter, they'd be like, this is written by the same guy? Like, we thought you were cool. And now he's like, yeah, y'all are going to be worse off.
Dang, for real, man.
Yeah, dang, for real, man.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, verse 50. You who have escaped the sword, go. Do not stand around. Remember Yahweh from afar and let Jerusalem come upon your heart. It's like,
Go back.
yes, like, whenever God lets you out, go back, because it ain't going to end well for Babylon. And ironically, Babylon's actually going to be destroyed before they, like it's Persia that's going to let them go back.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I think there's, like, the idea of, like, Persia's going to overtake Babylon practically overnight, but obviously it takes time for, like, a full destruction to be made. So the
Yeah.
idea is, like, get out of there.
That, and I imagine there's also like, from like a spiritual / like just like a mental perspective, it is this very similar to like prepare a way for the Lord. Where It's
Yeah.
like it isn't just simply like literally like going and like obviously like making a road. It's
Yeah.
like make a way for God like in your heart.
Yeah.
Like,
Or,
prepare,
like,
prepare the way like you know.
It's like the inverse of Jeremiah 29. Whenever formerly he wrote a letter and said, get comfortable in Babylon. Make it your home. But now he's writing another letter being like, but remember it's not your home. Like, it's like, yes, you should make it your home because you're going to be in captivity for a while. At
Yeah.
the same time, remember that you are sojourners in a foreign land that is destined for destruction, and your home is ultimately in Jerusalem. Like, so it's like,
Yeah, well, that's like how Paul tells like the Thessalonians like not to quit their jobs, but like he
Yes.
also will say that it's like we are like sojourners.
yeah, like live in the world but not of it. It's like, while you're in Babylon, seek the peace of Babylon. But recognize Babylon ain't destined for peace, and therefore, if you get too at home in Babylon, you're going to share in their fate. So, like kind of like Lot, whenever I tell you to leave, don't look back.
Yeah.
Or else you'll turn into a pillar of salt, and it will be bad.
Yeah. And then 49, just back really quickly to 49. Not like anything super, like I want to talk much about, but like Babylon's falling for like the slain of Israel. It makes me think of like in Revelation where it talks about like the martyrs and stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's like Babylon is like there's the fullness of the martyrs. It's like in the same way like Babylon is falling, and I guess in this case it's interesting because it says Babylon is falling for the slain of Israel in the same way that like the slain of all the earth fell for Babylon.
Yeah.
Which is like the way it's worded is kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's like it says Babylon is a fall for the slain of Israel, as also for Babylon the slain of all the earth have fallen.
Yeah, so he's basically like, I allowed Babylon to have so much power that they struck a lot of people down. But the particular reason why I'm going to destroy Babylon, it's not for all the other people. It's for my people. So it's like, like from his perspective, basically he's saying that Israel is equivalent in his eyes to all the other people. It's like he's like, I'm not specifically punishing Babylon for all the other people. I'm punishing them for Israel, but Babylon deserves it. Like, it's like Babylon destroyed a lot of things, and I gave them the power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you draw that into, not to dwell on it too much, but like I draw that in Revelation, and near the end, like Jesus comes back and essentially does it for his people. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. What else?
You got that language like though Babylon should ascend to the heavens. That also
Yeah.
comes back to like Isaiah and stuff, like the idea of Babylon swelling in pride. That's where you get the passage that's compared to like people say it's like about the devil, right?
Oh, yeah.
I forget, it's either Isaiah or Ezekiel. I always get them mixed up. One's talking to the king of Babylon, one's talking to the king of Tyre.
Ezekiel's Tyre.
Okay, so in Isaiah he's talking to Babylon, and he's talking about how the king of Babylon, like he would ascend to the heights and stuff, and people say that that's probably a reference to the devil. But that same language.
Well, I think earlier here, just because again with the Revelation chapter, there's a couple of verses where here they're like a little bit more vague sounding, but like when they're repeated in the Revelation, it sounds a little more specific. I think earlier on there was another verse that sounded like this, but it seems like the specific intention is to call back to like Babel. Like it was
that
like
makes sense.
it was like specifically like let's see, was it in here?
I can look it up.
Yeah.
But that would make sense because that is Genesis 11 is the origin of the Babylon story, but for some reason I don't know why we translate it differently.
Yeah. I think it might actually be verse 9 where it says, "For her judgment has touched heaven and lifts up to the very skies." I think in Revelation it's like her like, I don't think it says judgment. I think it says like almost like her like burdens or something.
Oh, okay.
But again, it is the idea of like has touched heaven and like lifts up to the very skies.
Yeah.
I guess in that case it could be the inverse where it's like her pride went up to the skies, therefore like her judgment goes up to the very skies.
Yeah.
But I think both are calling back to Babel.
Like you're referencing the Tower of Babel back in Genesis.
Yeah, because it's the same.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just making sure.
It drives me nuts. I don't know why we train. Like I don't know why.
It makes it just like it's not that much different of a word, but it's just enough where it's like you don't always think back to it.
Well, yeah, like I even forget it sometimes. Like I forget. Oh yeah, Babel and Babylon, same thing. But I genuinely do not know why we translate it differently, and it really bothers me because like just that small translation, it'll make people make the connection better. To where it's like whenever we think Babylon, we immediately think, oh yeah, people who destroyed Judah. But when you hear Babylon, you're supposed to think human pride, rebellion against God, Tower of Babylon. Like that's what we're supposed to think. But
Yeah.
I don't know. So, anywho.
Genesis 11.
So let's see.
So she should ascend to the heavens, and so she should fortify her lofty stronghold like a tower.
Yeah.
For me, destroyers will come to her.
I think there was even the language of confusion throughout the chapter too. We don't need to find the exact word, but
yeah, that was the one where it's like he drove me to confusion or something. Yeah.
which would also go back to Genesis 11.
Yeah.
Yahweh's going to destroy Babylon. He'll make a loud noise vanish from her. Their waves will roar like many waters. The rumbling voices sound forth. For the destroyer is coming against her. And he earlier had said, "I will send a spirit of I will send the spirit of a destroyer upon
Yeah.
her." I was trying to look to see if that same phrase showed up anywhere else in the Bible. I couldn't find one. But
it's not like. Do you think it's recalling back to Exodus at all?
that's what I was thinking. I didn't linger on it long enough. Like the word for destruction, like that word shows up a lot in the Bible. It's like it's not uncommon. But I immediately thought of like the Passover story. But
Yeah.
I didn't see the exact like I was looking for spirit of a destroyer like that. Those two words side by side. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was like Ruach HaMeshechet or something like that. But
Because in general, like this is still in the context of like a second greater Exodus.
Yeah.
So like even this would also be.
Yeah.
That.
Okay, so Jeremiah sent this through Sariah son of Neriah. He was the quartermaster, and this was in the 4th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah. So this is like, I had looked it up. I think this is like, 614 BC or something like that?
Probably.
Yeah, Zedekiah reigned 618 BC till 586. So like he was the final king, right? But the 4th year would have been about 614 BC.
Oh, okay.
And so,
And then, yeah, even just like the very last verse and a half, or just again like the specific mention of like tying a stone to the scroll and throwing it in the Euphrates and saying like, just like in the same way Babylon will not rise back up.
at least this time he's the one destroying the scroll, not like somebody else destroying it.
That's true.
It's just a bit more reassuring. Only one more chapter.
Yep.
Got this.
It seems like it's mostly narrative.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I'll just I'm not gonna read, obviously not read the entire chapter, but I'm gonna skim through
Yeah.
Revelation really quick, just so you can see some of the verses where it's seems to be pretty clearly calling back.
Yeah.
So Revelation 18 starts off. After these things, I saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great authority, and the earth was illumined with his glory. And he cried out with a mighty voice, saying, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, and she has become a dwelling place of demons and a prison of every unclean spirit. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her sexual immorality, and the kings of the earth have committed sexual immorality with her." So remember he said that Babylon had become like a golden cup, and all the nations had drank of her. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, so that you will not participate in her sins and receive of her plagues. For her sins have piled up as high as heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Pay her back even as she paid, and give her back double according to her deeds. In the cup which she has mix double for her." So again, God is telling his people to get out of Babylon and not participate in the same sins, right?
Yeah.
For she says in her heart, "I sit as a queen, and I am not a widow, and will never see mourning." For this reason, in one day her plagues will come, pestilence and mourning and famine, and she will be burned up with fire. For the Lord God who judges her is strong. And the kings of the earth who committed sexual immorality and lived sensuously with her will cry and lament over her when they see the smoke of her burning, saying, "Woe, woe, the great city Babylon, the strong city." And the merchants of the earth cry and mourn over her, because no one buys their cargo anymore. It goes down, and it just talks about all the different stuff that they would trade. The merchants of these things who become rich from her will stand at a distance because of the fear of her torment, crying and mourning, saying, "Woe, woe, the great city! She was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour such great wealth has been laid waste." So again, suddenly Babylon has fallen. We go down. "Rejoice over her, O heaven, and you saints and apostles and prophets, because God has pronounced judgment for you against her." Then a strong angel picked up a stone like a great millstone and threw it into the sea, saying, "So will Babylon, the great city, be thrown down with violence and will not be found any longer. And the sound of harpists and musicians and flute players and trumpeters will not be heard in you any longer. And no craftsman of any craft will be found in you any longer. And the sound of a mill will not be heard in you any longer. And the light of a lamp will not shine in you any longer. And the voice of the bridegroom and bride will not be heard in you any longer. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, because all the nations were deceived by your sorcery. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all who have been slain on the earth." So again, literally, Babylon was the verse where it said the slain. It was the slain of all the earth for Babylon.
49.
49? Yeah. As also for Babylon, the slain of all the earth have fallen. And then I think before that it mentioned the blood of the blood of the fallen have come upon you. And so it's obviously a heavily referenced chapter in Revelation. But yeah. We'll have to move on really quickly through this last chapter. We can go through it pretty quick though. But is there anything else y'all want to talk about with this chapter?
Another thing that will benefit us in going quicker through this last chapter is that a lot of it is word for word 2 Kings 25.
Yeah, that's true. I think most of it's actually almost verbatim. Yeah. I'll go ahead and move on. We'll go through it really quick.
There's some extra details with the temple destruction, but a lot of it's just, which I think is actually kind of funny because it's the 52nd chapter of Jeremiah, and it's 2:5 reverse. But that's just me.
Oh.
Never seen the numbers.
Yeah.
Wait, what's that?
So a lot of this is verbatim.
Yeah.
What's in 2 Kings 25,
Uh-huh.
And since it's the 52nd chapter of Jeremiah, it's like the 5 and the 2 reverse. It's just something
Yup.
I noticed.
Yeah, that's funny.
Doesn't mean anything, but like,
Yeah.
Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. And he did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For through the anger of Yahweh this came about in Jerusalem and Judah, until he cast them out from his presence. And Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. Now it happened in the 9th year of his reign, on the 10th day of the 10th month, that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came, he and all his military force, against Jerusalem. And they camped against it, and built a siege wall all around it. So the city came under siege until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. On the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine was so strong in the city that there was no food for the people of the land. Then the city was breached, and all the men of war fled, and went forth from the city at night by the way of the gate, between the 2 walls which was by the king's garden, though the Chaldeans were all around the city. And they went by the way of the Arabah. But the military force of the Chaldeans pursued the king, and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and all his military force was scattered from him. Then they seized the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon at Riblah, in the land of Hamath, and he spoke his judgment on him. Then the king of Babylon slaughtered the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and he also slaughtered all the princes of Judah in Riblah. Then he blinded the eyes of Zedekiah. And the king of Babylon bound him with bronze fetters and brought him to Babylon and put him in prison until the day of his death. Now on the 10th day of the 5th month, which was the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the bodyguard, who stood before the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. And he burned the house of Yahweh, the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, even every large house he burned with fire. So all the military force of the Chaldeans who were with the captain of the guard tore down all the walls around Jerusalem. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took away into exile some of the poorest of the people. The rest of the people who remained in the city, the defectors who had defected to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the artisans. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had some of the poorest of the land remain to be vine dressers and plowmen. Now the bronze pillars which belonged to the house of Yahweh, and the stands and the bronze sea, which were in the house of Yahweh, the Chaldeans shattered, and carried all their bronze to Babylon. They also took away the pots, the shovels, the snuffers, the bowls, the pans, and all the bronze vessels, which were used to minister. And the captain of the guard also took away the cups, the fire pans, the bowls, the pots, the lampstands, the pans, and the offering bowls, what was fine gold and what was fine silver. The 2 pillars, the 1 sea, and the 12 bronze bowls that were under the sea, and the stands, which King Solomon had made for the house of Yahweh. The bronze of all these vessels was beyond weight. As for the pillars, the height of each pillar was 18 cubits, and it was 12 cubits in circumference, and 4 fingers in thickness, and hollow. Now a capital of bronze was on it, and the height of each capital was 5 cubits, with network and pomegranates upon the capital all around, all of bronze. And the second pillar was like these, including pomegranates. There was 96 exposed pomegranates. All the pomegranates numbered 100 on the network, all around. Then the captain of the guard took Sariah the chief priest, and Zephaniah the second priest, with the 3 doorkeepers of the temple. And from the city he took 1 official who was overseer of the men of war, and 7 of the king's advisors who were found in the city, and the scribe of the commander of the army who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land who were found in the midst of the city. And Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took them and led them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. Then the king of Babylon struck them down and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah went into exile from his land. These are the people whom Nebuchadnezzar took away into exile. In the 7th year, 3,023 Jews. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, 832 persons from Jerusalem. In the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took away into exile 745 Jewish people. There were 4,600 persons in all. Now it happened in the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 25th of the month, that Evil-Merodach, king of Babylon, in the first year of his reign, lifted up the head of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and brought him out of prison. And he spoke to him good words, and he set his throne above the throne of the kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiakim changed his prison clothes and had his meals in the king's presence continually, all the days of his life. For his allowance, a continual allowance was given him by the king of Babylon, a daily portion of all the days of his life until the day of his death. Well,
I'm assuming that the
That is far
bronze,
less
silver, and gold that were
painful than I
taken is seen archaeologically as missing from some areas.
What's up?
I'm saying the missing pots, pans, lampstands are noted archaeologically.
Yeah.
But that's one of those facts that's consistent.
Archaeologists love pottery. They just love it.
Yeah.
So a few things. First off, I think that this chapter does a really good job of explaining the final words of chapter 51. Like if you go back to literally the very end of 51, it says, "Thus far are the words of Jeremiah," which sounds like a weird thing to say because like it's like right at the end of the book to where like you almost expect like if it were to keep giving more words of Jeremiah, it'd be like, why did it say that? But basically what it's communicating is that chapter 51 is the end of the words of Jeremiah proper. To where 52 is almost like an epilogue. To where it's like, really chapters 1 through 51 are the main content of Jeremiah. And it concludes by saying, thus far are the words of Jeremiah. Like that is all that Jeremiah has said. But then, by the way, chapter 52 basically narrates, and everything he said came to pass.
Yeah.
So which kind of explains it. And so I was looking it up, like just the parallels between 2 Kings and this, just to highlight some of the differences. They're basically almost word for word, but Jeremiah goes into a lot more detail about the temple.
Yeah.
Like he goes into way more detail about like, and this was taken, and this was taken. Here were the dimensions and stuff like that.
He
And
also gives an exact number for the people.
the people who were taken. Yeah, so he goes into a lot like more detail about just like, I guess like, instead of just being like, oh yes, and this historical event took place, it's like an emphasis on what it cost, which also ties into like the temple. Interestingly, wasn't mentioned a lot in Jeremiah. Like early on in the book, he was saying, don't trust in the temple, don't trust in the temple, right? Like the idea is all because you have the temple doesn't mean that like you're safe, because that temple can be taken from you. And so he was saying don't trust in the temple. And then it's mentioned one time in chapter 24. And then it basically is not mentioned again until chapter 50. Earlier. And then it shows up again in 51. And then here, I don't even think it's ever called the temple in this chapter. It's just called the house of God.
Yeah. It's true.
But I just think that's interesting that like in the text of Jeremiah itself, you see less of an emphasis on the temple. To where it's like the idea is like it's like especially we talked about this in 2 Kings as well. To where when you're reading First and 1 Kings, it's like the temple is like we've been waiting on it, and we've been waiting on the temple since like the Torah, right? Like it's like the place where God is going to dwell, and there's this huge build up to Solomon building the temple, and then it kind of just like sizzles out to where like it's almost like they realize, okay, it's cool that God's dwelling with us, but like God dwelling with us didn't magically fix all of our problems, because it turns out he was dwelling with us in the tent too. Like it turns out that God having a fixed home doesn't all of a sudden make us pure.
Yeah.
And so like in Jeremiah, it's like he also he doesn't emphasize it that much either. And Ezekiel's going to go even further by being like, yeah, I had a vision and God left the temple. It's like, so it's like, that's like an interesting development, like that as history progresses, the prophets of Judah are beginning to realize that our hope isn't in the temple. It's like the temple, like the idea, the concept of the temple was really beautiful, but it's not, it's not the tent that matters, it's not the building that matters, it's God that matters. And so they're not saying go back to the temple. They're saying, honestly, I wish that you would stop offering sacrifices in the temple, and I wish that you would just chase after me. And so I think that's like an interesting development over time. But
that's true. What else? I mean, we've already technically discussed most of this previously, but in general, what happens?
Destruction.
Destruction.
yeah, so basically, Jerusalem's destroyed. the people are taken captive, the temple falls, the wall falls.
Yeah.
But then at the very end, there is mercy that is shown to one of the descendants of David.
By a king whose name is Evil.
Evil Merodach, yeah. Which, I don't know if we even talked about this in 2 Kings, but like, there actually might be good reason for like why he showed compassion to, who was it? Is it Jehoiakim?
Jeconiah.
Or Jeconiah, Jehoiakim. Like archaeologically speaking and like historically speaking, we know that for a time, Evil Merodach, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
He had actually been imprisoned by his father before ascending the throne, and he would have been in prison at the same time as Jeconiah. And so it's possible that they just met in prison, and they're like, "Doesn't my dad suck?" And then like they just bonded to where it's actually cool to where the Bible never mentions him being imprisoned, but we actually do know from Babylonian records that he was imprisoned for a time. I forget what the reason is why, but it's like that's kind of funny. Like he's like you're in jail, but then once he ascended the throne, it would make sense that they probably had some sort of connection to where I don't know.
That's true. It says in the first year of his reign.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like a priority. He's like, oh, I want to get Jehoiakim out of there. It's my bro. But it's also cool because like to me it's interesting whenever history corroborates that, because whenever you reconcile the Babylonian account with it, it gives us a very natural explanation for what's going on. It's like, oh yeah, just like these two people probably like, you know, kind of almost maybe befriended each other or something. And so whenever the other guy ascended to the throne, he just helped him out. That seems pretty, like, that's reasonable. But from a biblical perspective, it's like, but don't lose sight of what God's doing. God is showing favor to the house of David. Like, so it's a very natural, like, set of circumstances, but, like, Jeremiah is highlighting, but that's God working throughout, like, like, there's God, like, pulling the puppet strings in the background, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. That's, like, almost a reversal of, like, the Mephibosheth story, where it's, like, it's not exactly the same, but, like, right after, you know, David becomes king, he shows, you know, kindness, hesed to Mephibosheth, and he, like, exalts him. Whereas in this story, it's like the moment that this guy becomes king, he goes and shows, instead of it being like the house of David showing kindness to the house of Saul, like in light of him like basically triumphing over that house.
Yeah.
Now it's like the, I don't know if I really call it like the spiritual house of Saul, but like it's the other house.
Yeah.
Triumphing over the house of David, but then like once that guy becomes king, he like exalts
The house of David.
the house of David.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's like kind of.
Yeah. And it's probably all for David's sake. It's like, and God showed Hesed to the house of David in light of the Hesed that David showed to the house of Saul. Boom.
Yeah.
Let's see, was there anything else I was going to highlight here?
And again, for people like for the audience, like we've mentioned that like these would be people that were in exile. The fact that it ends like it specifically ends on the telling of like the king being like exalted to being exalted. It is like it's a message ending on hope. And so this would be like a hopeful message to the people reading in exile, because you know this we read through that, you know, Babylon is going to fall, but they can't lose sight of, you know, they're in Babylon because of their sin, but at the same time hope isn't lost. Like there is still a king on the throne, in a sense.
He just signed.
There was one thing I was going to look up, because the numbers in this, go back to verse 28. So it says, these are the people Nebuchadnezzar took away in the 7th year, 3023, in the 18th year, 832, and then in the 23rd year, 745. So 4,600 in all. I believe elsewhere we have different numbers. I'm not sure though. Like I'm looking into that real quick.
Yeah.
Just to highlight, like that's not to suggest the Bible's not trustworthy or anything like that. I just think it's worth highlighting that stuff so that we can like look into it at some point. Like it's not worth it right now, but so like in 2 Kings, let me pull it up just to fact check. 2 Kings 24. So in 2 Kings 24 it says, Then he took away into exile all Jerusalem and all the commanders and all the mighty men of valor, 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and the smiths. So in 2 Kings it says 10,000. And then I think it even goes on to say more later on.
So with this telling, 'cause it does mention 3 different like takings.
Yeah.
Are these referring to the 3 different like
Deportations.
deportations?
Yes. Yeah. So I just find that interesting. And then like whenever you get to like Ezra and Nehemiah, it details the people who returned from Babylon, but that number is like 42,000.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, maybe it was a really busy 70 years, and like they just like, I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't be beyond Israel to like be fruitful and multiply during times of captivity. I mean, what else did they have to do? I don't know. But I just do find that interesting, to where it's like the numbers do seem to kind of be weird, but at the same time, I think that there's probably plenty of explanations. Like you can number them differently. It depends on who exactly you're talking about. Like in 2 Kings, it seemed to be talking about Jerusalem and the surrounding cities, whereas it seems like in Jeremiah he's specifically focusing on Jerusalem. And so it could be that it's like 4,600 from Jerusalem, and then, you know, like there's different ways to explain it. I just wanted to highlight that because it's good for us to be aware of that stuff, so that, you know, if somebody comes along and is like, well, actually, there's a contradiction in the Bible. You hopefully have at least spent some time wrestling through it, or at least you have some sort of answer. Not just to be like, oh my gosh, my faith is shattered. And also, to be fair, even if we couldn't find a way to reconcile it, that shouldn't be something that shatters our faith. Because there is plenty of room for there to be like copyist errors and stuff like that. Like this is not like, you know, if there was definitive proof that Jesus did not raise from the dead, then we'd be like, oh shoot, that's a problem. But like, this is like, you know, it's a very small matter. Like, I just want to like highlight that. It's probably worth keeping in mind.
Yeah. Also, because a numerical error is like one little line off versus like you can't like one letter off an entire like thoroughly lined doctrine of, like throughout 66 books.
Yeah. It's like literally the difference between like these numbers could be like if you actually put like a yod, which is like a tiny little like apostrophe, like that could make it a vastly different number. And so literally if like a scribe is actually like it, that's just worth keeping in mind.
Yeah, you can't yod your way out of like Jesus calling himself God.
Exactly. You can yod your way out of it. Yes. But yeah, so
That's Jeremiah.
that's Jeremiah.
Alright guys, let's start Lamentations.
Let's do it. So we'll do Lamentations next week. Maybe in 1 week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. It just depends. I mean, some of the like one of the chapters is like crazy long. I'm pretty sure.
I guess it just depends on how much you want to actually go through. I mean, technically, most of the could be just reading it. It doesn't really matter to me. I guess, but
I think it'd be good if we could just do it 1 week, and we'll just do over. Like the good thing is that Lamentations is basically an expanded commentary on the events of Jeremiah. Like Jeremiah ends by being like, by the way, Jerusalem was destroyed, and Lamentations is like, oh crap, Jerusalem was destroyed. Like it's like, oh no. And so it's like I think we could probably go through it pretty quick and just like highlight some of like the more like structural stuff that's kind of cool.
Chapter 3 is 66.
Yes. So we might have to just mainly read it. But
there's nothing wrong with that. But
yeah,
if you want to spend any significant time on any chapter, it would have to be 2 weeks probably. But
yeah,
I'm okay with doing 1 week and just being like half
Okay.
like 2/3 reading and like the other third is like actually talking or something like that.
Yeah, that works. And then we'll start Daniel, which I'm excited for that. That's gonna be fun to do.
That's a good book.
We're gonna have to be careful to not go into too much
Get your calculators
speculation.
out, guys.
Yeah, no, get your calculators, guys. We're gonna calculate the end of the world. No, we're not gonna do that. But we are gonna try to handle it
Yes,
well.
sir.
And I'm excited. I think Daniel has a lot of very good practical
That's fun,
stuff.
man. It's fun.
I mean, every book has practical stuff, but Daniel, I think, is very easy to find practical stuff just because of the context in which he finds himself. But
Yeah.
that would be swell.
Very good.
And eventually, we'll get to the New Testament.
Did you want to do Ezekiel after Daniel or
Probably. Yeah.
I feel like we need to do because people never go through Ezekiel.
Yeah.
But it's like we don't want to spend a year in it.
Yeah. No, we'll go through Ezekiel. And we might even be able to do it where it's like me and you like trade off or something like that, or
Something.
I don't know. We'll do something there. So,
I'm cool with whatever.
or I'll just get lazy and say, okay, Sean, you're in charge of Ezekiel. We'll see. But
Yeah.
Be
all right,
lazy.
cool.
All right.
Let's pray.
Cool. Someone want to pray us out?
I think Jacob should do it.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Now on spot pressure.
Uh-huh.
Lord, we thank you for allowing us to be able to have a relationship with you. That you're the creator of the heavens and the earth. You have breathed life into our lungs. You put us in this room, be able to have a direct conversation with you, see what you've written for us. Don't let us take that lightly, Lord. Let your word be written on our hearts. Let us take away the knowledge, but also a depth of understanding of your character. Let that be written upon our hearts, but have that change our lives, Lord, so we don't go about tomorrow as we did today, that we keep becoming sanctified to grow closer to being like you as your kingdom approaches. Let us live with that thought in mind, Lord, with the hope of your kingdom in the future, Lord, but to share that joy of salvation with the people around us now. Yes, let us get home safely and get rest, go about our daily lives, but not just in the monotony as the world does it, but with hope and reflection of the scripture you've let us read tonight. Name we pray. Amen.
Amen.